Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Sorry, I'm running a little late. I am filled with food and regret. Welcome everyone from YouTube and Twitch. Let me get this started here shortly. Welcome to the office hours. This is a podcast. Say too much. This is a broadcast, kind of an AMA live stream to both YouTube and Twitch at the beginning of my broadcast week. So let's get to the office, shall we? Oh, everything's not working. That's great. All right, let's do this manually. Hello and welcome to the office hours. Everything is broken. Blame Twitch. That's what I do. How y'all doing? How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry for being late. Yeah, I stream the both simultaneously, both Twitch and YouTube simultaneously, which we'll be doing as well for Sunday. So, Mr. SquarePeg, good to see you. This is Shenanigans Conti. Welcome everybody. They hotfixed trade this morning. It's almost like it's the biggest the biggest event of the year. And suddenly they realize that if they didn't do something to try to fix the biggest reason why people play, that people might just, roast them for it. That's good. It's good to hear. I haven't gone over it, so I'll take a look at it. Yeah, I heard from both from chat and from Burks that there is something they hotfix trade. I don't know what that means. I'd have to look at that, but chat, you can fill me in on how that worked. Finally made it a live stream. Thank you, Livingston. Yeah, it only took him 10 months. 10 months. Tried 2 years. The trade's been broken for years. Since the beginning of 2022. Or since 2022. Yeah, I'm in the future now. Since the beginning of 2020. Lore question that I require answering. Is there any low reason for no nukes in Star Citizen? Yes. Would you trust civilians with nuclear weapons? That's the answer. Now, the military does have nukes and they do use them, but there's no point in using nukes for the kind of operations they want to, because nukes are the kind of thing you use when you don't care about what you're hitting them with. And the problem is that nuclear weapons in reality are not very effective in outer space, because they release a lot of energy, but a lot of energy on Earth is contracted through like a shockwave. So they're just not very effective in outer space compared to kinetic weapons. And they, besides in the lore of Star Citizen, we have antimatter bombs, which are and missiles and torpedoes, which are planet cracking. Which are 15 times that of a nuke. Like a hydrogen bomb is a fucking tiny little pea shooter compared to an antimatter torpedo. A shop service hotfix has been deployed to correct inventory refresh rates. Shop inventories will be adjusted, but refreshing properly post-deployment. Okay. So that's interesting. We need the official CitCon drinking game rules. We'll talk about it here in a bit. Then 315 hits and we'll all be broken again. Yep, that's how that works. Paul, you've been keeping up with the Evo patch notes? Not really. I've been focused on other things. Nukes have to be used on a planet with thick enough atmosphere, yet you don't care about living there for quite a while. Not good Venn diagram. Exactly. And the problem is do you understand Star Citizen? Land is at a premium. Any place you want to live at, you don't want to mess it up because there's just overpopulation like crazy. Not just overpopulation, but poverty issues. No one wants to live on a world with 13 billion creatures smashed together. And no one wants to live on a world that's already been developed because you don't have a lot of opportunities for money. So what do? They try to find new planets so they can settle and then use the resources as well as get land to settle and that kind of thing. It's an economics and social issue, which is why they're trying to build Synth World, because that way they don't have to find planets, they can build them. If anyone's curious why Bob is curious what Astropub is saying, what he says about nukes in space. They've done extensive research since the 60s. They've done extensive research on nuclear weapons being used in space because in the 50s and 60s, we were all crazy about damn nukes. We wanted to see what we could do with nukes. And we found out pretty quickly through research testing and just general kind of experimentation. Yeah, they're not very effective. Oh, just a fix to being able to buy reasonable volumes of cargo. The question isn't buying reasonable volumes of cargo, it's selling it. In lore, Hurston Dynamics provides the antimatter for the UE WMDs. Yes. Hurston Dynamics is as far as we know, the first creator of antimatter weaponry for the UEE and the exclusive creator of antimatter weaponry. That's why they're so goddamn powerful. Didn't they set off a nuke in space and kept quiet about it for the after effects? It was hard to keep quiet about it when it shattered like tons of places. But yeah, it was Project High Jump, I think was the name of it. Something like that. I may be thinking of the other one. I've watched too many nuclear weapon documentaries, so I don't know. They all blend in my brain now. Starfish Prime. Thank you, Starfish. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Like, a nuke going off in space doesn't produce much of an EMP. Not like anything that's decently shielded will be protected against an EMP from a nuke in space, you know. The cell caps are fixed too. The ultratraction cap in GHEX got raised to something higher than 2,233 units. Man, I don't know. Maybe I'm just salty about that. Just hearing about that makes me go, yeah, you couldn't do that like 2 years ago when people were complaining about it. Now suddenly you raise the cap right before you wipe everything. Yeah, that's very nice, CIG. Yeah, I mean, compared to the sun, yeah. Yeah, like EMPs are nothing compared to what you need to protect yourself in space. So, what are your thoughts on the ship graveyard system? Spider? I forgot the name. Do you think it'll ever be be made? Yeah, Spider definitely be made. Spider or Cathcart and Spider, which is so that definitely be made. It's just going to be a lot of bespoke aspects, though. This is the PU, Tarn. PU. And it was basically like what people have been wanting, like, hey, just up the refresh rates. And finally they did it. It's like, why couldn't you have done that years ago? Oh, because we needed to balance the economy? Like, what? It's PU. It live. Okay, so the live servers got the fix, as far as I understand. Because it's in the current status shop. Hotfix deployment. We probably all glow under a certain light, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what Hurston originally was. Or Hurston was originally a weapons testing site. That's the purpose of them buying the planet, so they could strip mine it and bomb it to hell. like people go, oh, well, why was Hurston Dynamics so, like, why do they just not care about the environments? Because they tested antimatter weapons on it. Because the whole planet is just a giant weapons testing platform. And they don't care about it. Yeah, it's Space Nevada. Sup, Pete? What's your safe word? Thought I'd check in on your YouTube instead of Twitch this time regarding the community post a few years ago. So the plan, I think, going forward, for those of you who don't know, just kind of a little housekeeping before we go forward, is I'm probably going to start streaming content to Twitch and to YouTube. More than likely, unlike Office Hours, which is saved and archived on YouTube, I'm not going to archive the gaming streams on YouTube. I'll probably set them to private once they're done. So I then can go through and edit it if I want to. But more than likely, just not archive it. Because going to both of them would just give me an idea of like how much interest there is in YouTube and such. Twitch has decided that it's very not friendly to content creators and they're constantly messing up. And as much as like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you don't just switch over from Twitch to YouTube. It's like, yeah, no, of course you don't. But you test the waters, you do some testing. And so if people enjoy the content we produce on Twitch on YouTube, then we can do both for a while. And if we grow higher on YouTube than we do on Twitch, then we can just move to YouTube if we need to. But yeah. Well, the only reason why I've been doing it, Darj, is because Board Gamer, who is much bigger than I am, has been doing it for years. And he's not gotten slapped by it, so. Yeah, I'm sorry. Twitch just gave everyone's private information away here, so yeah. Question: in Star Citizen, how do banks do transfers across solar systems? Depending on data runners to physically transfer data across systems, star systems would leave banks vulnerable to double spending. As best as I know, they do focus on data runners. And as far as I understand, inter-system transfer of funds going between different systems is probably fairly rare. And they're probably a lot more hostile to, like right now, current banking as it exists is a little bit more loose and in terms of spending funds and stuff like that. I'm imagining that the banking systems of 2951 are very much more restricted to system. So if you don't have your credits on you, you're not going to be able to spend credits even if there's records in another location. But there's likely, it could also be a thing like where you can chase the banks. Like you can just deposit and withdraw money and just keep going and hoping you can beat them out. I hate the fact y'all call me Pete. Yeah, I know, Edward. Well, according to Star Trek lore, we have one more world war to go to beat the Vulcans. Oh, God. Pickle Skin, how you doing, buddy? I mean, everyone only cares about money. That's business. But the difference is that, like, they're not really focusing on making the money worth it. They're resting on their laurels as the top dog for streaming. So we'll just see. I'll see what's best for the community and what's best for me. That's essentially what we're doing. You know where the blame for that lies, Pete? Yeah, HC Vertigo. Playing Star Trek Ascendancy? Never heard of it. Hey, Silky. Question: where do you think we should set our expectations with the status of server meshing, and would concern you if you've not made much progress on it? Okay, so I've said this from the beginning. I don't expect server meshing until the end of next year. I think people have set themselves up for massive disappointments in the near future. I think that the earliest we would see it is next year, and it would be static server meshing. Because I don't think CIG really has a lot of progress made on it. I think there's a lot more complicated factors that people who are just looking at the progress tracker are filled with hopium rather than reality. And I think there's a lot of testing that needs to be done that they haven't done yet. So even if they get the whole system finished, it may take months before they can actually test it and put it out there. They wouldn't, and CIG hasn't talked about it. I mean, they talked about it in the monthly report a little bit, and we'll talk about it in this monthly report. But people looking at saying, oh, it's only 30 minutes. What do you show with server meshing? Hey, this is a server that's meshed. Believe me, I'm here. Like, there's really no way to show it other than mock-ups. You can only really experience it when you can experience it in game, and that's obviously not available right now. So it's mostly just going to be them talking about where they are, where they were, where they are now, and where they're going to be in the near future. That's probably what it's going to be. It's just going to be a short talk about it. Anyone who's expecting them to surprise reveal server meshing has already psyched themselves out. It isn't full-blown server meshing, of course, but the ship persistence they talked about in coming with player shard is so juicy. That's not even on the roadmap, though, y'all. That's on the progress tracker. The server, the shard stuff, which is the defanging of 30K, that whole thing isn't happening, isn't even on the release tracker yet. It's just on the progress tracker. I'm going to double check that right now, but people need to remember that progress tracker does not equal release tracker. If it's progress, it just means they're working on it, which is, we're glad to see it. But don't put any timetables on that, because it's just a one-way trip to disappointment. Yeah, it was, if you look at the actual thing, it says progress tracker, but I'll double check it. As the case, we can officially call Star Citizen a research and development project only. It will not be released. What? If they don't release server meshing today, then it's just an R&D project, and Star Citizen's a failed project. No, it's not. It's just not available yet. God, guys. Chill out. Whoever designed the whole series never worked in logistical security IRL. The cargo thieves will cut out the cargo pods of them at truck stops. That's the kind of the idea, though. That's kind of the idea behind that. It's not supposed to be secure. It's part of the gameplay aspect. So yeah, if we'll show this on maybe the presentation will work. It does. Nice. So we'll see this in the presentation here, and I'll blow it up so you guys can see it. So y'all can see this. So it says progress tracker. Okay. Downstream teams have begun to extend their planning into Q4 2021. And you'll now see the reflected in the progress tracker. With that, there are quite a few new deliverables in the highlighted view. So this is all stuff that's in the progress tracker, not the release view, meaning it's being worked on for the Q4, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's releasing Q4. It says it right here. With the introduction of the fully persistent shards, items/ships that are left in the open space are bound to that shard until a player collects them and stores them into an inventory or parks them into a landing location. To provide more frictionless experience, we will implement a feature that automatically stores these freely placed items from the shard when the areas are streamed out and places them into a different shard when the player logs into a new shard. This allows players to find their freely placed ships items left in open space, regardless if that shard instance they are assigned during logon. Yeah. So basically, it will track where your items and place them where you were, wherever you are. So I think that so you think the player item transition not being there in 3.15 means you're automatically put back into some shard server, or you just plain lost your shit? You just plain lost your shit. I think that's the reality. So The sleep. It's important to remember that that Star Citizen is not a realistic simulator. It's a video game. And so a lot of stuff is designed with gameplay in mind. See the Starfarer. The Starfarer is designed like an FPS level because that's what it is. It's not designed like you would design an actual spacecraft or even an aircraft for the functions that it needs. It's just poorly designed. But that's the purpose. Like, the whole series is designed to be a freighter that has exposed elements, which makes it very weak to security, which means that it needs to be obviously babysit all the time. So you have the increased benefits of having shit tons of cargo, but the reduced security, which means you have to pay somebody else to protect you. That's the point. It's gameplay aspects, not realistic. Because otherwise everyone would actually everything would be a little bit easier to protect because most people would be stupid. Professional mind. Well, damn it, Paul. Why can't I have debt stipulation of filling out my taxes and port fees? You will be filling out port fees soon. Oh, God, yes. AKA the loot pinata. Yeah, it's the pinata. I don't know why Papa Hefe and Bill are having an argument in chat. Bill, I'll just say, your argument of Star Citizen can't be produced forever, I've heard that argument for the last 6 years. And every single time someone's made that argument, they've been wrong. It's like people claiming it's the end of the world is coming soon. And my answer is, yeah, I've heard that thousands of times before. It never happens. Like, there's no evidence to it right now. Star Citizen CIG is not running out of money. There's no evidence of them running out of money. They're not losing popularity. There's no evidence of that either. At most, they're having dips and peaks, which is pretty normal for online games, depending on when they release. But whenever they release, they get a lot of attention. So, like, I don't know. Maybe it's not, the sky's not falling because CIG has delayed something again. Yeah. Gameplay reasons why I asked about the nukes. They just seem too powerful gameplay reasons. That's the reason why they're not using nukes, is because they're too powerful for gameplay reasons. But in lore reasons, they say, why would you give nukes to civilians? That doesn't make any sense, especially in a universe where antimatter exists. Paul, apparently there's been a hot fix that fixes... Yeah, this one was already talked about that. About the hot fix for trading. Speaking of port fees, do you think there'll be specific tradeways on the border? Border of Banu and Xi'an Space that will be free trade zones? Yes, I do. Maybe not free trade zones, but duty-free zones, possibly. Yeah. I mean, you're definitely going to have to pay import-export fees, or you're going to have to pay some fees to go into those spaces. So... I got nukes full of critical hopium. Thank you, Conti, for gifting that sub to Darge and our Execute. Question, is the end of the world coming soon? Yes, tomorrow. CitizenCon, that's when everything's going to end. All right, so today we're going to go over a couple things. I'm going to be doing an experiment. All right, an experiment. Of course, it's not working. Not the other. I'm going to be doing an experiment here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do the segments I'm going to do presentations on. I'm specifically going to be doing the one on CitizenCon. I'll try to be my best narrative voice, and I'm going to segment that out later for people who are watching YouTube who just want that segment. Then I'll do my best to, put on my presenter voice and not say a lot. But we'll see. It's an experiment, so it'll probably fail. But if I don't respond to chat, that's part of the reason why. So it's going to go to citizencon.com. All right. So here goes nothing. Let me finish this up. Bill, dude, why do you watch Star Citizen if you think it's going to fail? Like, why are you here? Like, I get it if you want to discuss Star Citizen and some other stuff like that. Like, but why do you watch a Star Citizen thing if you're just here to be like, Star Citizen's going to fail? It feels like you're just, I don't know, maybe do something more productive with your life? Like something else? There's other games out there that are fun. I've played them before myself. There's other things to do. It seems a little counterproductive to sit there and be like, Star Citizen's going to fail and I know why. And then saying so on a Star Citizen stream. Okay, Bill. Bye, buddy. You can You can go enjoy your time out and go somewhere else, buddy. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I have been doing this for 5 years now, and I've just reached my limit of give a fucks about people like that. Like, if you seriously are like that, just go somewhere else. You're not welcome in my community because I'm just tired of it. Everyone's tired of it. We'd rather see something else. Like, dude, just go somewhere else. God damn. All right, now I'm going to try to do this. Hello and welcome to a brand new experiment. I'm live on Twitch and on YouTube right now. So you might be watching this on the regular office hours and be like, wait, he did this on the office hours, because I did. You should be watching us every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm not going to do it. Just 9 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/theastropub or youtube.com/theastropub. Come join us and watch this live. We do question and answer stuff. It's an AMA. I do multiple different segments. This is just one of them. Today, we're going to talk about CitizenCon. CitizenCon is coming up Saturday as of this recording. And I want to make sure you understand the context of what CitizenCon is going to be and a little bit of setting expectations. I've been doing a lot of stuff that's just like, hey, let's set CitizenCon expectations. But I think this one, we've got a lot of information in the last couple of days, so we have a good, solid understanding of what CIG is presenting and the timeline upon which they are presenting. So without further ado, let's go to the presentation. All right, so here we have CitizenCon. This is citizencon.com. You can go here yourself and check it out yourself. It has all of the timetables. I suggest doing that to kind of see your own desires. This is, of course, going to happen at October 9th at UTC 3 p.m. I am in Central Daylight Time, so this is actually 10 a.m. for me. It's 11 a.m. for those of you in the Eastern. So it actually has your local time posted up here when you log in, so it'll tell you exactly when it goes. And it's going to be on Twitch. Click this little button, go straight to their presentation. So, opening with Chris Roberts. In the past, we've had the first and last, or at least the first, usually is some sort of keynote speech. However, in this case, it's not a keynote speech. In this case, it's simply a short introduction. It's only been about 5 minutes. The intro and the outro are just Chris coming on saying, hey, I'm Chris Roberts. This is Star Citizen. And hey, I'm Chris Roberts. That was CitizenCon. Thank you for watching. Essentially. The actual keynote will be Life in the Verse. This is a hour and a half plus presentation, and we'll go over this. The year's biggest panel takes you into the guided tour of the current in-game universe. Join the developers who bring all to life and explore the locations, systems, and gameplay, and more. This is with Ian Leyland, the art director, Todd Pappy, the live director, Dave Haddock, the narrative director, and more. So this is the head of the lore team and the narrative team, the live director, Todd Pappy, who's in charge of the active stuff, and then the art director. I'm sure we'll see other people as well. This is going to go through everything that's in the game currently, possibly even talking about systems. They say systems and gameplay. So this may not be a traditional keynote. It's important to note that this is the longest panel, and it's likely the closest we're going to get to a keynote, but it is itself not necessarily a keynote. In the past, you had a keynote, you had Chris Roberts talking about, hey, this is what we're going to do, and you kind of follow through Glenn and all those sorts of things. I am beginning to doubt that this is that. This might be just more of a pre-recorded walkthrough and discussion, much more of a presentation than it is going to be a live demo. So this is like we're going to get most of your content, most of the stuff that you want to know about will be here. But I would caution by comparing this to previous keynote speeches, simply because of the uniqueness that we see here. After this, we've got one of the more anticipated panels, I think, that are going to be coming up this year, Ship Talk. Ship Talk is, as I say, Ship Talk's presentation with John Crew, Ben Curtis, Paul Jones, reveal new and upcoming ships, delve into their journey through the production, provide some much anticipated updates about a fan favorite vessel. Now, this is where I theorize that we're probably going to see something about the Banu Merchantman. We know it's one of the biggest fan favorite ships. It's something that they've wanted to update. We know it's gone back and forth from concept a lot, and we haven't seen a lot of it. So, and it was at one point on the roadmap. So this is likely where they'll talk about that, but they'll talk about the other ships as well. All the ships that are coming out either at CitizenCon, at IAE, or other released or soon to be released ships as well. So if you like ships, and knowing you're a Star Citizen fan, so you like ships, I know, then this is the panel for you. Moving right along, that panel is going to only be about 45. Ooh, no, it's a lot longer than that. So it's going to talk a lot about ships and then move on to Gen 12 and the multi-core of Vulcan. This is, without the nitty-gritty details, Gen 12. This is the new renderer, the new Gen 12 system being developed by for Star Citizen Squadron 42 using Vulcan. This, for those of you who don't know what Vulcan is or what Gen 12 is, essentially it's DX12. It's the latest kind of greatest systems, rendering systems, software to help the game function. And the reason why they're using Vulcan is because it's an open source API, and it allows for a lot of things that they're looking for, including long draw distances, and it should at least give better performance. This is one of those things that, for those of you who complain about getting 5 FPS at Star Citizen and constant frame shudders, this should be the thing that helps mitigate that. It's not really designed to. It's not its purpose of being added. Its purpose is for better looking systems that are more efficient, so you can cram more stuff into the game, because that's the big thing. So if you want to know more about that, this is the panel. It's the third panel starting at 1900 UTC. Crafting worlds, planetary tools, and tech. This is some new planetary tech features being developed to help bring Star Citizen to life. So the big things we know about the planet team: 1, roads; 2, rivers; 3, lava. Those are the things that we know that they're working on. So I would 100% expect those 3 things to show up in this panel, plus more, because if there's one thing, there's one team other than the ship team that's really, really fucking good at their job, it's the Planet Tech team. They've been way ahead of the game for years. So this is going to be a very interesting panel for knowing the future of places like Pyro and Nix and other systems in the verse. Now, this is one that I think a lot of people were hoping would be the biggest presentation, because this is actually a fairly short presentation. It's only 20 minutes, which is not too bad. But this is going to be a little less impressive, I think, than people think. This is server meshing in the state of persistence. Discover the transformative technologies of server meshing and persistent streaming, a deep dive into the technical architecture of these key core initiatives that will enable a truly massive, scalable, and persistent world. Because of the nature of this kind of stuff with server meshing and persistence, they're likely not going to be flashy and show a lot of stuff because there's probably not a lot to show at this point. But if you want to know where server meshing was this year and has been in the past and will be in the near future, this will be the panel. I'm expecting a lot of heavy technical jargon, technical talk. If you're not a network specialist or don't work in video games, you may not understand anything they're saying. Just a fair warning. So, this includes Benoit and Paul Reindel, both of which have been working heavily on integrating a lot of the aspects, the different services in Star Citizen. For those of you who don't know, 3.15, possibly even 3.14, but definitely 3.15 is adding the inventory system in the background, which is a separate system from the game that allows you to stream out and stream in inventory. Essentially, when you store an item, it just disappears. It's no longer, it's in your inventory, but it may not actually be on your person. It'll be in another background service, so the game doesn't have to render it. And that is persistence, and a lot of the stuff, those kind of discussions will probably be in this panel. But it's only 30 minutes, so I would turn down those hype thrusters, reduce your hype thrust. It is getting to dangerously critical levels, but, come in with an open mind. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about this. This one was one that I'm a little more, I feel like it's going to be very interesting, and I feel like it's going to be a sleeper hit. But the sounds of space, the mad minds behind the soundscapes of Star Citizen, take you on a guided tour of the latest developments in the innovative new audio tech that will truly bring the verse to life. I think most people will tune out for this, and especially it's going to be hard to follow up the server meshing, but it being almost an hour long tells me that there's going to be a lot of cool stuff that we'll be able to hear from and maybe even see in terms of this tech. So it'll be interesting to see it, though I don't think it's going to be super anticipated. Then Systematic Gameplay Stream of Thought. This is Tony's, which is almost 2 hours. It's Tony Zervek talking for an hour and 45 minutes. You're welcome. You're just welcome. So, Tony will be talking with Ron Reiniger, Ben Dorsey, and Luke Presley, who are all, gameplay and designers and engineers who are all making the background stuff. So we'll see stuff on dynamic events, quantum simulation, and so forth. It's an hour and 45 minutes of Tony Z and crew. You're welcome. I mean, I don't know how to put that elsewhere. You're going to watch it because everyone in Star Citizen's going to watch it. And it's going to be fantastic. And that's about it. I think this is probably going to be the biggest reveal. It'll probably be a lot of stuff we've already heard about, but probably some more physical, tangible stuff. So, all Swedish, no Finnish. Oh, God. And then lastly, after that, we get a closing with Chris Roberts. So ending at about 6 p.m. Central Time, so about 7 p.m. They also said that give or take about 30 minutes for every panel. They may be doing things like Q&As afterwards. So we expect a lot of pre-recorded assets and then maybe some live stuff in between. So that's what to expect with CitizenCon. Looking through all the panels, talking to you about what are the rights and wrongs. And as far as the Life in the Verse being the keynote, for those of you who are wondering, Xylo confirmed that after several YouTubers posted their own videos talking about what to expect at CitizenCon, and Xylo piped in and said, they're not doing a beginning and end keynote. We're just doing the keynote would be effectively the Life in the Verse segment. So there we have it. They also said that all of these videos will be available the same day. So we'll see the Life in the Verse panel, and it may only be up in an hour or two after it's been posted. So it's important that, you know that, so it's going to be available pretty quickly. In the past, we'd had to wait weeks or months before all of those videos are posted. Now it's going to be pretty much simultaneously. And that at least tells me, and should tell you, that a lot of this is pre-recorded. So a lot of this is going to be pre-recorded presentations with maybe a few question and answers. And that's it. That's the first experiment here for Office Hours, little segment for Office Hours. Again, if you like this kind of stuff, we talk about lore, we talk about updates, we go through the entire monthly reports, we go through all sorts of different discussions, and you can ask me questions. We just have discussions in the chat. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/theastropub and youtube.com/theastropub. As always, remember, hope to see you someday in the black. And there's the pre-recorded segment. So I'll go through the systems on this already. Thank you, Satisfaction, for that 2 months. I really hope we hear about it. 400, yeah. My expectations is Paul loving the Redeemer. You've chosen poorly there, Diabolus. Yes, the ultimate zero to hero. Okay, let's go through some of this. Oh yeah, it's on YouTube, Chip. Yeah, that's what I was talking about that. So CitCon's going to be a big Inside Star Citizen. Essentially, yeah, I would expect it to be a big Inside Star Citizen with a little bit of Star Citizen Live sprinkled in. How this PSC is going to suck? Well, yeah, Trouble Magnet. It's important to remember that it's also going to be pre-recorded, so it's going to be up there pretty quickly. He's Pete Shelley. He knows all. Of course, I know everything. 2 hours and 10 minutes. Thank you. I couldn't math properly at that one. Okay, I think they could get better at QA and releasing stuff in better shape, but they're getting better. I mean, there's some problems you have with. There's always some problems that CIG is going to have with a live game development. Building the plane while they're flying it is always going to be a little rough. Saying they could get better at QA is a bit of a misnomer, because anybody who knows the video game industry knows that QA probably finds all the bugs that we experience all the time in Star Citizen, but the issue is being able to replicate it, and or is it really worth them fixing? The problem that CIG faces, which is unique to CIG and not in other games, is that Star Citizen's bugs could just be problems with placeholders, or some other interactions which are weird because it's missing the hook for a specific program or specific edition which isn't in the game yet. For instance, the Moby-Glass issues. A lot of those, I'm sure, have to do with the fact that it runs on Flash, so it's not great for what they want it to do. It's very system-heavy. And server issues probably are an issue. And also rendering. The Gen 12 renderer isn't in. So there's a lot of issues that could be happening which are out of CIG's control until they build those issues or they fix those things. So it's a little bit more different in terms of, like, they're getting better at what they're doing, but that may have to do with the fact that just adding shit to the game that needed to be there that they hadn't had before. So. Sounds like rinse repeat of the past 2 years at CitizenCon. I wouldn't expect the brand new things from CitizenCon. CitizenCon is not really designed to be anything but a giant GDC for CIG. I challenge you to drinking contest during CitCon in your 24-hour stream. Not gonna happen. I need to not die. The issue is poor leadership. Bill, did you just switch names? I have no idea what you're talking about with poor leadership. I will disagree with Chris Roberts on a lot of things, but to say that Chris Roberts is a terrible leader without knowing him or knowing his style or even be working for him, that's a little presumptuous. I mean, if you say that CIG has poor leadership, what you're saying is that you know someone or you yourself could run it better without any of the information that you have on hand. You don't know everything that goes on a day-to-day basis on CIG campuses. I don't even know. No one who works at CIG does, except for the managers. So a lot of it is like saying, "Oh, this is poor leadership." Is like saying it's Monday morning quarterbacking. You know, it's armchair quarterbacking. It's I know better for some reason. And I know a lot of people in the Star Citizen community are technical minded. They're either developers themselves, or they're software engineers, or they have other things. But anyone who's worked in gaming can tell you no project is the same. Every project is different. Even if you're using similar tools, everything's going to be different because you're trying something new. So, and every development house is different in terms of their approaches to things. So, you know, hey, that's just the way that works. Not really leadership, maybe management. I don't even know if it's management, y'all. I think it's a lot of it is the community is impressing their beliefs on a game that was never intended to have those beliefs. I'm not saying it's all community's fault, but I'm saying CIG has gotten better at communicating what exactly they're doing at all times and are pretty open about it. But the community continues to complain about poor communications while CIG is getting better at it. Every time Glenn, see our yells at Glenn, you have to drink. Oh God, I'd be dead by 2 minutes. Hey Paul, I love the channel. It's my first go at Star Citizen News. Any thoughts on the settlement gameplay loops? Probably going to be a while sluggish. I don't think you're going to see a lot of settlements until after the systems come in, and I don't think we're going to see systems come in until the end of next year. So I think settlement's one of those things where they want to do it, and they obviously have lots of plans to do it, but they're hindered by the fact that the final versions of server meshing are still a ways off. So they want to have that done before they try to do any kind of settlements, because you have to deal with the realities of a open world game that's a single shard, quote unquote, essentially. How do you manage that with thousands of players interacting with one another? You know, you have to worry about that. I'm streaming on YouTube too, yes. Chris yells at Glenn, one of the squares. Oh God, Buster has that, yes. When the conversation starts, I've been a backer. I don't even bother people, yeah. I would say that Star Citizen is probably one of the most communicative companies that exists in gaming. I wouldn't say that the best at it. I wouldn't say that they're amazing at it. I would say they've learned a lot from it. And I would say as well, I have not experienced communities like Star Citizen. I have experienced communities that are very communicative with me as a creator working with their projects, but, helping to stream their projects, but not to the average person. CIG extends a lot of information to the average person that really isn't seen outside of small one to few person indie teams. The only thing that CIG doesn't do that a lot of indie teams do is tell you exactly where all the money is going at every week or every month that they get money from, say for community Kickstarting and stuff like that. But CIG does do that. They just delay it about a year because it's a lot of money and a lot of people. So we usually get a full release, economic release from CIG from the year before. So it isn't management. It's just that CR is a geek and very passionate about his project and portrays his wishes and not expected realistic deliveries. I think he has some people who rein him in. I think Chris is paying for sins of the past rather than recent. I haven't really seen Chris over-exaggerate much. Now, saying that, Chris did say last year that he hoped to have iCache by the middle of this year and server meshing by the end, and I laughed because I knew that wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen. He's just very ambitious with his teams. But I don't think he's too far out. I think we're still going to get iCache by the end of this year and server meshing by the end of next year. But I also think that Chris Roberts or the team will say they're looking to get server meshing in by the middle of next year, which is not going to happen. So, Polaris at CitizenCon? No, I don't think we're going to see Polaris. I think we're going to see Banner Merchantman. I think the Polaris is going to be post Banner Merchantman. Chat will be a dumpster fire? Oh, 100% chat will be a dumpster fire. Question: when Jared winked at you in ISC about CitizenCon, what did he mean? Tell us now. He winked at me? What? When? How? I'm confused. Oh, winked at us, you mean? I don't know. So it was a question asking me. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Paul, do you think we'll see a passenger gameplay loops soon? Yes, I do think we'll see passenger gameplay loops soon. I am almost assuredly believe that we're going to see passenger gameplay loops before the end of next year. Based off of the technology that we've been seeing CIG develop, based off their monthly reports, based off of their own additions to the game in 3.15 and beyond, I can almost guarantee that. Hey, Logan, thank you for the raid, buddy. Welcome, everyone, from Loganstream. Welcome to the office hours. This is a Q&A, AMA sort of laid-back talk about Star Citizen stream. How was Eternum, Logan? I see it has your soul. It has my soul completely. I will be joining you after CitizenCon is finished, at least for once or twice a week. AI looks really good and great place for passenger gameplay. Oh yeah, no, there's lots of good stuff coming out. Not too long ago, there was more information about the increase in size of the Orion in some internal photos. Any ISC, any reason ISC has been silent about that ship? Orion? Probably because it's been put back onto the back burner. Can we get a follow command for Logan? I don't know if QPan's here. QPan's here. Yeah, you already did that. Yeah, it's cool. Go follow Logan. If you're watching this on YouTube, Logan Plays, twitch.tv/Logan Plays. He does Star Citizen content. He does multi-crew or multi-game content. He's going to use me as a bullet shield when Darktide comes out. And I'm going to ride his coattails as hard as I possibly can to get an early access copy of that, if possible. I don't care who I have to purge to get access to that. Tell me whose door I need to knock on and who I need to talk to personally to get an early copy of that, because I will do it. Yeah, just not their focus right now. The Orion is just kind of not in a good place for content. Being a big asteroid smasher, they don't even get all of the asteroids in the game yet. So. Who else is playing New World right now? I think it's easier to count the people who aren't playing New World. Looking at the Twitch stats and looking at people's experiences, it's last time I checked this, like heat of the day kind of checking it on Twitch, there were 250,000 viewers on Twitch. It had more viewers than League of Legends. Nuts. Low quantum screenshot. Will we be able to use quantum linking to have big ships like the Starfarer use their quantum tanks to propel ships in small quantum tanks long distances? Oh, possibly. I mean, there's a lot of gameplay content that could happen with the changing of physical quantum drives. Because for those who don't know, quantum drive is getting an entire overhaul in the near future. They've started working on that a while ago, and which is going to physicalize quantum driving, meaning like you're, instead of just sort of going from point to point really fast, it's you like objects in the way will block you. You can't quantum out of asteroid belts, that kind of thing. Like you have to be, and you physically like move or turn with the all sorts of different things. And it'll essentially allow you to blind jump is what they're trying to do. And part of that, I am assuming, is going to be an overhaul of how the quantum system works. I wouldn't doubt that they would have some sort of ability to link your quantum drives and then get inside a bigger ship's bubble and then jump with it within that ship's bubble. But right now, that's more like gameplay theory than it is actually real. So, New World's not my thing. I get that. Vic, are you saying he winked at me holding his red rocket? What? I don't know. I don't know what that means. I know what red rocket is, and I mean, is Jared coming on to me? I mean, I'm flattered, but I'm not right now. The quantum overhaul makes the upcoming asteroid belt in Stanton make more sense with the gate. Yes. We'll see. I think the gate, I agree with HC Vertigo that I think the gate may end up getting the cutting room floor, because the concept of the gates around the Aaron Halo belt always seemed a little freelancer-y rather than what Star Citizen has become. But I don't doubt that they'll try to do the Aaron Halo. It's just maybe not the gates, but we'll see how that goes. Fiaggi forgot space isn't three-dimensional. Is three-dimensional, yeah, but the thing about the Halo is that all of the planets orbit on the ecliptic. They all orbit in the same way. There's no like wonky orbits, and so in order to go to a location, you're going to need to plot a jump up above or below the asteroid belt, and then repopulate and go around. And I'm assuming that direct routes are always going to be more fuel efficient. So it won't really be a huge issue, but it should be enough of an issue that plotting courses are going to be a little bit more tricky if you're trying to get around the gates. Whereas if you're legitimate, it'll cut down on time. I think that's the general idea. It seems very but wide though. I mean, I can tell you why it was originally there, because in freelancer style gameplay, it acts as a choke point so that players will have to go to those locations to be able to get between the different areas. And you can get around them, but it requires a lot of movement. And without funneling people into locations, it will be more difficult to do things like piracy and such. So the idea was to make things predictable for players. The Space Panama Canal, yeah. Invariable plane, yeah, I don't know the terms for that. I know it's a plane of some kind. Question, with over 100 systems planned, will we see more explorable city planets, or will they use the existing models such as ArcCorp's layout? I think they're going to probably they're probably going to be developing. So it's important to remember that games reuse assets all the time, and I expect lots of assets to be reused from all of the Stanton system. But I do think they're going to change things up a little bit, and they've even said that they want to make buildings inside ArcCorp explorable in the future. So essentially, right now we have two teams. You have the team that's laying track, which is the Planet Tech team. They're coming in and building the track out. And then you have the team behind them, which is the Montreal team, who goes in and fills that track in with gravel and make sure that everything is like all of the pitons are knocked down and make sure the tracks are aligned properly and fixing all of the kind of messed up parts, and then also building the train stations and populating. So like you have the Planet Tech team that builds the planets and sets it up for basic working for Star Citizen. And then Montreal comes in afterwards and then fleshes everything out to become more viable, more unique. And they've already done that with some assets that we've seen. In fact, I think the space station, all of the hospitals are built by the Montreal team. So the hospitals and the clinics are all Montreal. So you've got this. So you've got the team that they're going to be going in and building out these systems as they go through. So I do think we're going to see new unique cities for wherever we go. I do think that we use assets. I don't think you're going to see GTA Star Citizen. Landing zones are still going to be restricted to landing zones, but they'll expand it out here and there to try to make it more interesting. I know Jared made a comment about the Grimhex employee working in the Whammers by day and back alley surgeon by night in the same uniform in the SCL. I know. I also made a joke about that. Like when I saw that, I saw the whole thing. Are you talking about Twitter? Yeah, I was saying that was his comment. I know. Remember he made that comment about the Whammers burger. And then I saw the update for the progress tracker about an apron for the medic at Grimhex, and I was like, Jared, you did it. But then again, I will tell you once again. I want this to be the waiting music in the Grimhex clinic. Just imagine this in the Grimhex clinic. You're waiting there, blood's on the floor, you hear someone in the background. Number 23. Yeah, come on back, man. Come on back. Just watch the blood. You might slip. I am that kind of guy. See what I mean, though? You like the juxtaposition of this crummy, rundown clinic that's run by a dude who lost his license and is now working at Grimhex in less than ideal sanitary conditions. Juxtaposed with this calming bossa nova music. Yeah. It's the medic from TF2, exactly. Doc and CP, yeah. CIG already has that dark comedy. What is it? The Kleischer is exactly like that. That's exactly what Kleischer is. And I don't want CIG, I don't want Star Citizen to turn into nothing but dark comedy, but there's definitely points in Star Citizen that can use dark comedy, like Grimhex, especially the Grimhex Clinic. He lost his license selling drugs. The deaths were due to the poor hygiene conditions on Grimhex. You can't control that. You just need the right amount of like the ridiculousness of having something like that. Those are the prosthetics they show. The first thing I'm going to do is lose my limbs and become a Terminator. Yeah. Yeah, but have it go through fuzzy speaker. Exactly. Have it like a really like slightly off-tone fuzzy speaker. Like it's hanging and it's just dangling and you're hearing the music coming out of it. Why are you getting 30K errors on Twitch, Egbert? That's not good. Stop bringing that juju here. I gotta... Have you seen the new VKB product video? It's on YouTube. I haven't. I'll look it up though.
In the beginning.
Is this it?
The gaming desk was empty. The joystick alone was sitting on top of it. Then, life changed forever.
Russian subs help. It helps with the feeling, at least. Huh. Interesting. Control boxes. Okay. Looks cool. A left stick fit, yeah. Cool.
My VKB controls my universe.
Very nice. Escape from VKB of, yeah. Russian, 16 syllables, 2 hertz. Okay. That's Fist of Jello streaming right now. All right, let me close this down and go to the monthly report. Start up this music again. See, it's left stick tilt. Yeah. Do I think that we'll get secret medical and bomber ships? A2 is our primary bomber, and they have so much effort into the game loop. Maybe they release the Apoa Vulper. I don't think they'll release the Vulper. They'll definitely release another bombing ship. I don't know if it'll come out in Star Citizen yet. Welcome to Kleischer. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Yeah. Paul, well, I'm not a Hornet fan. I liked your video on it. Thank you. Like that. My plan is to do videos like that, which are simple, to the point, lore videos at about a minute long for some of the ships to kind of fill in the time where it's going to take me to do longer videos. Hopefully by the end of this year, you'll see what I mean by like longer, more detailed videos, which is going to take me a little bit to build up the assets for, but hopefully you'll get that one. I click on your live stream and I'm immediately bombarded with flight stick and accessories I'm never going to afford. Timing is cruel and unusual. Someone suggested I take a look at it, so. I wish I could have enough money to afford that stuff. I don't. I won't be able to. All right, so. Oh, Lord. Okay, so this is where we're going to go through the monthly report. I usually go through the monthly report on here. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. But I do think we're going to see medical ships. I think we're going to see more medical ships because I doubt that, because right now there's only 2 ships with medical beyond a tier 3, and there's only 1 ship that has a tier 3, like 1 ambulance, which isn't UEE standard. So I don't know. Bombs instead of torps. I could see something like that. Can we put bombs on missile racks? They said not this release. They haven't suggested if it's going to happen in the future, though. Yeah, Lord Vader is great. Thank you. I remember seeing an Inside Star Citizen in 2015 talking about growing a certain narcotic in the biodomes of Endeavor. Is orbital architecture still a thing? Yes, it's going to be a thing. It's not going to be one until they get... That's more along the lines of, like, Endeavor has to be released, but before even the Endeavor releases, they have to have something like ground bases, which still haven't been in the game, so. Planet-side cave areas? I don't know if we'll have that, but... T-69s are good and cheap. Yeah, that's what I use. The A2 is so OP. I don't think the A2 is going to be as OP as people think, because they're going to have to make some drift in the bombs. And I think that you'll be able to take cover from the bombs if you know they're coming. Do you think we'll ever be able to play an instrument in Star Citizen? I would hope so. I'd hope they give us the ability to at least attach a MIDI controller. Yeah, Moab is a big radius, but you got to remember that bombs are effective when they airburst and when the shockwave hits you. That's the real thing that does most of the damage is the shockwave rather than the explosive itself. That's the thing that like ruptures interior organs and stuff like that. Most people who are killed by bombs aren't exploded. They're not turned into giblets. They're hit with a shockwave and their body ruptures and dies like instantly. So the key is, as long as you're protected from that shockwave in some cases by taking cover or behind something that can break the shockwave or brace the shockwave, it shouldn't be that bad. And I think that CIG is going to mitigate some of this with things like hand wavium, armor, and all that sort of things. Like I imagine that bombs will mostly be used to disorient and disable. Not in the sense of like disable as in like not kill, but disable as in like your ships are going to be, unless you got a direct hit, your ships are going to be kind of fucked. And you're probably going to have multiple injuries and sort of on the back foot, if not unconscious. You're not going to be dead though. And so having somebody who can be protected, who's in a bunker or is in some of the things, that kind of stuff, you know. There isn't a piano. There's a piano, but it uses a looped song that's just the Moonlit Sonata. I don't think CIG will do something. I mean, they probably will if they added instruments in the game of like full on like motion mapping. But I think even just being able to connect a MIDI, MIDI, turn your keyboard into a MIDI keyboard, MIDI controls to allow for basic sound playing. So you can like have a guitar and then do just a little like strumming animation, but like you can hit buttons and it'll play out a song. That's something that's been in MMOs for 20 years, almost. Oh yeah, about 20 years now. And it's something that I think CIG would like to do. That's also not something that they're going to do anytime soon, because that's something that's like post server meshing shit. With the number of musicians that exist in CIG, they'll definitely want to do something like that. Now, the big news is AI's pooping and shower movements. Oh, God. Yep. Personal shield stand equals invincibility. I don't think that'll be the case, but I definitely think if you could drop down a shield facing the right blast areas and cover behind it, you'll definitely be able to mitigate some of the damage. New career path. Musician. Start out playing in the metro stations and work your way up to Chairman's Club or playing on fancy origin chips. Yeah. Crouch, put your head between your knees, and scream as loud as you can and try to survive the bombers. Yeah. I think if you get to the point where A2 is able to bomb you done goof to begin with. Exactly. Put the medic through the drawback. You can do that, something like that too. Yeah. Do you think CIG will support huge player faction wars like CCP do for EVE Online? Yes. That's definitely end game goals for CIG. But they have to have server meshing working first to be able to do that. General rule of thumb for bombs is that if you're in hard cover out of direct line of sight, you'll probably survive so long as you're not caught in the fireball where the breeze won't get you. Yeah. That's generally the rule of thumb for like for grenades, for instance. Grenades are not really designed to be super deadly. The Hollywood grenades and video game grenades are always a little bit overblown, but like the thing that gets people with grenades is shrapnel. Not necessarily shrapnel even from the grenade, but the shrapnel that the grenade produces, like by blowing other things around it, like wood chippings and wall chippings and stuff like that. And even then, grenades are mostly designed to just fuck people up and knock them out. Because if you're not hit by the shrapnel, you're hit by the shockwave. And if that doesn't kill you, it's going to disorient the shit out of you. Thoughts on capturing the Bengal? I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen before CIG realizes it. Before CIG realizes it, or before CIG thought it would happen, be able to be happening. And I think they'll nix it pretty quickly. But I think it's going to take a lot of work to capture Bengal and fix it up. Desync bombs. Oh God. InfoRunners did a couple good videos on this. Yeah, the InfoRunners recently released a video on combined arms gameplay. That was released today, I think. Wasn't it Execute? Y'all should go watch it. Thanks for the chat. You're off the bed. Have a good night there, Sluggish. Thanks for hanging out, man. Thoughts on flying the Bengal? It's going to be a while. I think CIG needs to have a lot of tech worked out, but I think it'll be possible. I think it'll be complicated, but possible. For the bombs, HU and the bombs, yeah. Link to that? Sure, I'll pop it in. Pop it in the chat. This is combined operations. It's an hour long. God damn. Fucking two military nerds and Seer talk for about combined armed warfare for hours. There's the link for the combined arms. I also 100% believe that we're going to. I also 100% believe we're going to see guided munitions. It's 54 minutes. It's fucking Seer. What do you expect? Execute. I don't expect you to go long unless I'm on there. I always extend the length of, and if it's me and Al, you might as well just put it an hour and a half, because that's what we're going to talk. The Vulture was meant to be a starter ship, a career starter ship, yes. Actually, a good example of grenades work is a Band of Brothers, where one of the German grenades lands basically at the feet of one of the U.S. paratroopers in a trench. He survives without injury since he hit the deck and none of the shrapnel went his direction. Yeah, there's a couple of, like, I think there was an interview I saw with a survivor of the Black Hawk Down incident where a grenade dropped in front of him, literally in front of him, and he slid down low and covered his face, and the grenade actually, when it exploded up and around him. So he got rained with, like, a little bit of dirt, and some of the shrapnel kind of came down, but most of the explosive went around him because there was just a little bit of a lip in the ground that he was just below the wave. So yeah. Tracers? No. I think lasers. Laser guided munitions. Though I do expect tracers as well when they get ammunition in. But yeah, I expect laser guided munitions. Being able to laser target and guide in a missile or torpedo or a bomb. So you can sneak into an area that is lowly defended or lightly defended with a small spec ops team and just stand in the background and laze the target from a distance and have an Eclipse or an A2 come in and just drop it, and then you're guiding it in with the laser. Because that's something that A, CIG would like because it's cool, and B, promotes multi-crew gameplay, multiplayer gameplay, which is something CIG wants to do actively. And I don't think it would be very difficult. I mean, everything in gaming is difficult. What I mean is that I don't think it would be too difficult to implement in terms of just the gameplay aspect. Well, like with the A2 and ground control? Yeah, something like that. Frag rays usually have less explosive power than concussion ones in Fire Core. Yeah. It would be fun to have gladiators torps locks onto lasers. The gladiators were supposed to originally be guided in by lasers. So, like, that's the lore bit of them. So it would make sense if they had systems paired up with ground-based teams. They will rename 3.14 to fit 4.0 and release it with Pyro, mark my words. Doubt. Massive doubt, but we'll see. We'll have to use that cave we can fly ships into for target practice with the bomb for the bomb. Yeah, something like that. I mean, they are laser-guided bombs, not missiles, but bombs. They have to be dropped in a certain radius, and it's more like being like nudged into the right direction. You do how Arma does it. The laser shows up as a contract on your radar, and you lock onto it. The missile or bomb you fire then homes, and it's simple, straightforward, which is great. And as long as the lock is there, it maintains the lock. Yeah. Later, Darge. Thanks for hanging out. Darge has been doing a lot of work for me behind the scenes. I'm going to pay him because he's worth the money. But this whole thing is Darge. So is this transition. That was Darge. So money. I like money. Pay Darge. Yeah. Do you see CIG making a few areas extra attractive for players to somewhat force combined arms gameplay? Yes. I also expect there to be some canned combined arms gameplay in Star Citizen in probably within the next couple of years, specifically around Chiron. Chiron's in a constant civil war, so I expect players to have a kind of battlefield / planet side experience where you can sign up with certain sides and then go do missions for them in large teams of other players or in with players and NPCs. That have that kind of control this point, go capture this point sort of situation. But yeah, I do expect there to be locations that CIG makes so valuable that people want to go in there and control it. And there is something special on Sunday that Darsh is cooking up. So, Goki says goodbye. There, Darsh. Should we be concerned with NPCs using A2s? Yes. You should. Very soon. Let's go over the monthly report with that so we can talk a little bit more about those concerns. Thank you. I mean, the fuzzy, like the green screen effect isn't great, but you know. Thank you. All right. All right, so let's bump this up. I usually like to go for bottom up rather than top up, but let's do the AI first. Let's go top down. AI content. So this is content for, this is the monthly report for September. In September, AI content concluded their work on the new worker behavior, which the designers will use to quickly add life to virus environments. This will replace many legacy behaviors until environment-specific AI is added. They also added security TO or T0 to outposts. Now NPCs can find and use usables in their patrols, making their routes feel more believable and less robotic. NPCs can guard entrances by blocking the entry or checking IDs too. The bartender vendor was expanded with the new cafe usables to allow players to order soft drinks at locations in Area 18. So now you can wait 15 minutes to get your Coke. Progress continued on the patron and goods seller. Fucking fuck. Fuck it. This is the one. This is the thing. The wandering trader. The Khajiit has wares if you have coin. You know. Can we ride them all as Dr. Strangelove? Maybe. Oh yeah, that's right. All of my audio broke too because I had to reconnect all of that stuff. Hold on, give me a moment. Maybe that'll fix it. I can fix it real quick. Everything should be fixed now. No, it's not working for some reason.
Two words. Distress bacon.
Oh, it is working.
I'm Fly. I'm Pilot.
Khajiit has wares, if you have coin.
So it does work. Okay, cool. Don't abuse it, please. Happy Friday, Pedro. Yeah. Well, so sort of tomorrow for you, Pedro. 409 medical variant on sale Saturday? Maybe. I just blew your mind with that? What do you mean? What do you mean, Slappy? What did I blow your mind with? Anyways, moving on. So Khajiit has wares if you have coin. They've actually talked about a wandering trader where you can go sell shit to them, which is not going to happen this year, but it's going to happen sometime next year. Because it's already on I think it's on the release view for next year. So for selling things. So it's going to be pretty cool. And doctors and nurses were to New Babbage and Orson's hospitals. These are progressing well with a QATR taking place early next month. Okay. AI feature. The feature team continued to work on perception changes for stealth, including creating a mechanism to tweak the ranges of sound events, like weapons firing, bullet impacts, footsteps, and vaulting. They also updated the debug renderer to show the type of sound event, enabling designers to identify the sound events if they're working on it. I wouldn't be surprised if CIG ends up adding Proc's voice as a sound trigger, but we'll see. Uncle Benu's crazy discount market, yes. That's just asking viewers to abuse it then. Shut up, Omega. Oh, thank you, Dig Dog. Thank you for watching that Lord Mini. I really want to get a medical ship, especially Origin Medical. Yeah, I think I would almost bet on a 400i medical variant because let me go through some of the lore here for you. Drake and the UEE hate each other. They just can't stand one another. So there's not a single Drake ship which is in the UEE military or even the UEE civilian, like the government ships. They don't use Drake. Drake is like faux pas. It's just not going to happen. So the red doesn't make any sense. No official UEE government anything will use the red. Civilians will, but government won't. So you need some sort of ambulance for official purposes. And who else better to do something like that than Origin? I know people will say, but the Apollo is a flying clinic. It's not an ambulance. It's not really, it has some ability for search and rescue, but you're not going to throw that thing. It's too much of a value to put out in the front lines. You need something like a red, something that's cheap, easy to kind of throw out to the front lines, grab people and pull them back. And Origin makes sense, but we'll see. All the best human produce. Avenger medevac. I mean, we're definitely going to get a MPUV medevac. I think that's already going to happen. Tally medical, probably not. Healing torpedoes. Can we pull prosthetic limbs off of dead people when you get prosthetic limbs? Probably. You revive. You go to a swim for physiotherapy, sauna for karma, and so on. Okay. Yeah, exactly. For 890. It's too thick to be a frontline ship. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna need that guy's leg. Coughs and misc. Like, seriously, something the size of a prospect would be perfect. Yeah, I mean, that's why I think the 400i, when it comes out, which will probably be around the size of a between a Freelancer and a Phoenix. So. Origin is cheap. No, it's true. It's not. But Origin has military connections. That's why I would say like Origin would make sense, but probably much more like RSI. But we'll see. Anyways, moving on to the AI feature team. The AI feature team continued to work on perception changes for stealth, including mechanism to tweak ranges of sound effects. Yeah, so like I said, VoIP. I'm sure they'll do a prox VoIP reaction, so you can still like talk to party members, just don't hit the prox VoIP button. Progress was made on melee combat, improving combo system to make it more data-driven so that designers can add new combos quickly and easily. Previously, combo attacks were set up in subsumption logic for melee attack behavior, stringing together multiple single attack tasks. Now, simple combo attack tasks is used to improve responsiveness between the parts of the combo. AI features also worked on... Wait, this is AI team. AIs can beat the shit out of us? Okay, that's new. That's new. AI features also worked on the actor team to come up with a solution for AI hitting low or high targets with melee attacks, adjusting the spine bones rotation up and down to bend towards the target. Okay. The cleanup of motion capture animation assets for cowering, surrendering, perception reactions, and unarmed cover usage continued too. Finally, the team fixed some issues with ships defending a lead ship getting stuck in a loop, trying to select a new target. Okay. AI tech. Last month, the AI tech team focused on optimizing several AI systems to improve performance, including turret behavior. Focus was given to making 3D collision avoidance for AI ships in complex scenes with narrow spaces where the bounding boxes for obstacles weren't a viable solution. There's a variety of updates to pathing, pathfinding, path execution, and movement alongside continued progress on planetary navigation too. That's why I mean AI bombing you is going to be a problem, because the AI is going to soon be Mad Maxing their way through your through the countryside of Orison, witnessing, demanding you witness their heroic deeds in Valhalla. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, just look at me. We're gonna do this. Look at me. Look at me. Tell me, in your heart of hearts, do you honestly believe Chris Roberts isn't going to have Mad Max savages roving the blistered countryside of Hurston? Tell me that's not going to be a thing.
Drugs.
It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. If CIG can make it work, they're going to do it. It's going to happen. I mean, like... All right, it's back to this. But yeah, so planetary navigation. So they want NPCs to wander around the planets and attack, but also like defending stations and being able to like get into tanks and firing at each other, that sort of thing. So if CIG can make that happen, they're going to make it happen. Just because that's the kind of emergent gameplay they want the AI to participate in, and that's something they'd like for players to deal with. If they Mad Max the countryside of Hurston, would you be able to tell the difference too? That's my point. It's already a Mad Max hellscape. You just add the players, you just add NPCs with tanks and cyclones, and then you've got yourself in roving nomadic gangs, and now you've got yourself Mad Max.
Weapons free, y'all.
Yeah. Scrap tank rover. Jawas, yeah, basically. I want my CCU freelancer Apollo. Couldn't seem to. Yeah, it's hard to do that with a freelancer. It's just so good. This for Subsumption Editor, they finished implementing the docking system, which will enable them to reorganize the UI, which is nice. Bugs were also fixed for Alpha 3.15, and the team continued to write technical documentation related to AI systems and server meshing. It's good. Animation teams spent September improving vendors, including adding new items and location-based assets and transitions to give more lifelike result. They also discussed how to best implement emotional state idles to characters to give them life when idling. Work on behavior blockouts and animations for patron continued. Some of the assets previously shot for patrons sitting at bars is being implemented to give more robust feel to NPCs at bars and counters. We dropped in a considerable amount of new idle animations for characters sitting, and are working towards the day when no character looks like a statue, but rather a living, breathing person. Some of these animations have not been fully edited yet, but we wanted to get them in so we can feel out the results in the PTU and PU. Okay. Can we park a Tonk on the side of an asteroid outside of Grimhex? Not really, because there's not enough gravity on asteroids. You could, like, place one near an asteroid. and animation NPC behaviors essentially never stop working. Once those NPCs aren't locked into T-posing over tick rates, the things are going to be wild. It stopped to work on. Yeah, that's the key. I can't wait to Moab Fury Road. Exactly. Traded for it on Reddit. Got a quite good deal. The seller had been able to sell CCUD. Okay, CCUD. Hey, what's up, Uri? How you doing, buddy? Hey, coffee. All right, so on player side, the team began reworking various select and deselect assets sets so that they can work in all instances, including with the new inventory system. Improvements were made to drunk locomotion that will, alongside new assets drop, efficiently improve the visuals. Significantly improve the visuals. That's good. Hopefully they can significantly improve the UI visuals. Art characters. Last month, character art prepared assets for Alpha 3.15 and beyond. The tech assets also finished skinning 2 new armors debuting in the coming patch that will help out fill out various gameplay archetypes. For those of you who don't know, that's the heavy and light. Checking real quick. Oh, right. Hold on. I have to do something real quick. God. Gotta do something real quick, y'all. I'm trying to figure out, like, oh, right, nothing is working because nothing is connected. Because Twitch decided to screw everything up.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Middle Lands of...
I have no idea what that is. Oh, hold on. Uh, Okay, so let me close this and reopen this. Sorry, I realized there's a bunch of things that, like, why nothing was working. It's like because everything got screwed over. There we go. So it does work now. Okay, so it is working sort of. Okay, sorry. Now I'll get back to this. Am I moving to YouTube too? No, I'm not moving to YouTube, but I'm definitely doing a little bit more of working on both, just because of Twitch's cluster that is right now. I guess it works too, but it's sneaky. Sorry, I was looking through stuff like this, and I realized that like there's a bunch of things that aren't working because I had to disconnect and reconnect a bunch of things. Anyways, moving back onto the art. Go back to. Ah, it works now. There you go. Yeah, now it's working. My Stream Deck wasn't working properly. There we go. All right. Last month, Character Art prepared assets for Alpha 315 and beyond. The tech artist also finished skinning 2 new armors debuting. Yeah, so that's the new... I was going to look up CitizenCon, which one they were. The TBF4 suit. So the special TBF4 light, and there's the TBF4 heavy. I think is what it is as well. Yeah, so the only thing that was working, like all of my ancillary assets, like my Stream Deck and my Twitch bot, all of that were not connected because of everything. Thanks, Vix. Yeah. Okay. For subscribers, 2 new helmets scheduled for release at the end of the year were modeled and passed on to tech art for skinning. These will be paired with color variants of existing armors, like the recent Star Kitty and Kabuki helmets. Nice. They also finished the touches on the prize assets based in the Ship Showdown's Final 4. Really now? Are you going to give my king his crown and a nice cape, CIG? All hail our beautiful god king, the Argo of cargo, the god of all cargoes. Character art progressed with Alpha 316 content, including texture update passes on DNA Architect heads. This will massively improve the quality of character customizer and NPC heads for both the PU and Squadron 42. That's good to hear. We've actually seen a little bit of that with the new hair assets for the hospital employees. For Pyro, the concept artists continued creating costume packs for the Frontier-style clothing that will serve as the basis for clothing for a whole new system. Multiple armors were also modeled for the Xenothreat gang using CDS armor as a base. Good to hear. Cargo for the cargo god. Art ships. In the U.S., the ship team completed the final art for the Crusader Ares, which involved implementing the new large-scale glow workflow into thrusters for improved lighting. They also set up a bifurcated material system to support both non-armored Ion and the armored Inferno branches when applying tints, so each version of the ship will appear slightly different. The Drake Vulture moved into gray box stage. The interior is now completed, and the team is focusing on finishing the exterior, including the reclamation arms, nose grinder, body, cockpit, landing gear, and thrusters. They also added a collapsible exterior ladder to allow players to access the cockpit from the arm. One of the previously mentioned unannounced ships is currently in the final art phase with focus on polishing materials and nacelles. Nacelles. That sounds like an RSI ship. Attention is currently directed at the dynamic animations to give players more feedback when the ship is in motion. Another ship discussed in last month's report is now art complete. The team is planning on bug fixing passes and preparing to set up the final tints. This is why you read these monthly reports, because they slip in things that you may not be able to pick up otherwise, and it helps you a lot with understanding what CIG is doing right now. Dooley looked great, yeah. In the UK, an unannounced ship moved down the pipeline, several others reaching the final art stage. Tasks for the Crusader A2 Hercules were closed out, including minor polishing and bug fixing. The upcoming MISC cargo ships progressed well. The Hull Sea had numerous details finalized while the holiday is approaching its white box review. It's good to hear. Nacelles also an Argo vibe. I don't know many Argo ships with nacelles, though. They usually don't have that kind of exterior jutting nacelles like the RSI does. Though, we could see something like that. The RSI Nightingale, you mean the Black Widow, maybe? I mean, yeah, I could see something like an RSI Nightingale being like a medical, like, transport, like a medical ambulance. Audio spent September closing out goals set in Q3 and supporting the build-up of various events. Orison had final push, with SFX and dialogue for Cousin Crows and Crusader Showroom completed alongside an ambience polish, VO tours, and mixing. Plans for Orison Spaceport music progressed, and the rest stop and Grimhex Hospital locations received their final SFX and dialogue passes. I don't know if anyone in the SFX team or dialogue watches these at all. I'm just saying, Bossa Nova, baby. Bossa Nova. I'm not saying the Beetlejuice scene is fantastic and you should use that, but I'm saying the Beetlejuice scene is fantastic and you should use that. The quote-unquote gruesome treatment VO is a particular highlight for Grimhex. Now it's implemented in game. Oh, God. Text, sound design, and SFX worked together to add effects in the medical bed and bomb delivery UI. Finally, audio worked on sound effects for dialogue for IAE. Good to know. Community's team began returning the Xenothreat event, including publishing infographic dealing the facts and figures. After the event, the team invited backers to an AMA and dynamic events. Once complete, they posted a comm link to make it easier to recap. Once outside the game, the team supported the annual Ship Showdown competition. During the Phase 1, the community was challenged to support their favorite craft by submitting an initial creation to the community hub or Twitter, with the team rewarding the 10 submissions they felt were particularly outstanding with an Origin 100i. During Phase 2, the finals, community supported the accompanying free fly and detailed the knockout rounds that ultimately crowned the Argo MPU V1C as the overall winner. I don't see an RSI ship going on sale this Saturday. Possibly. We'll see. Community closed out the month announcing this year's Digital CitizenCon schedule and the digital goodies pack for all backers received for free. All right, now we're going to get into the cryptic hieroglyphics that were written down in the days of old by King Nebuchadnezzar the 14th, ruler of Uramadan, and High King of Basalt. Because, you might as well be speaking a different language when you're reading the engine stuff. This is some very thick review stuff. So you'll know some of these words unless you know all of these words, in which case you're smarter than I am. In the days of past, in August, the physics team did continue to optimize the back-end code and include the for soft body implementation. Various parts of relevant collision detections outlines were optimized or rhythmically by improving their bounding volume representations and hierarchy. Soft body topography loading and building, baking code, and memory management were improved too. I recognize those as words, but you might as well have said the hoochmajigger and the higawatt with the twirtle and the base soda mustard upgrade. Not outlines routines. Did I skip that? Oh, detection routines were optimized. Thank you. Additionally, terrain meshes were now flagged so that they can be exclusively raycast along with the allowing meshes to cluster with a single raycast. Moreover, kinematic parts are now used as valid moving ground colliders on actor entities. Soft body physics does not necessarily mean cloth physics. Soft body just is slightly, it's morphable, not necessarily cloth. You use soft body stuff, I saw physics and thought I had a chance. Never mind. And this is, I think this has to do with streaming in and out terrain, maybe? For the renderer, work continued on global draw packet cache. A mechanism was added to rebuild the cache when necessary. Its logic was refined to prevent the unnecessary recreation of draw packets with identical arguments, which is important for brushes. Okay, thank you, Kale, for translating. So what this means is grass movement. Being able to move through grass and leaves and being able to push down leaves and grass. That's good to know. Thank you for the translation, Kale. Like I said, we're getting into the section where it's always interesting and you can always pick out some interesting stuff, but generally speaking, unless you speak code, it's hard to get that, It's for inflatable crew roommates. On a higher level, oh God, that was a low level? The Gen 12 renderer interface is now used for stat OBJs and render proxies throughout the engine, which marks another step in the transition to the new render paradigm. The shader system saw several changes too. Shader parser initialization was streamlined and the user cache was moved to the Windows app data folder. This will be rolled out into post-Alpha 3.15 and should fix long-standing issues for some users. There were some various changes to refactor and transitioning to code Gen 12. That's good. Some aspects of the renderer are coming in post 3.15. So we're not getting in 3.15, but maybe 3.16. Speak code while speaking in code. Low level is deep in the weeds, while high level is bird's eye view. We're more zoomed out in summary of things. Yes. I have no idea. All right. Regarding the atmosphere and volumetric clouds, there have been various improvements to cloud shadows, which is good. The stepping code for local cloud shadows has been refined to be easier to control by artists, as well as optimized so it's not evaluated unless necessary. Aside from self-shadowing clouds now also cast their shadows onto the entire scene, which has become important for proper scene integration as the team start to use them on planets as well. Additionally, work to improve the rendering of cloud edges has been completed in parameters exposed to artists to give them a more volumetric look. Researchers went into various topics. 1. A quick prototype for better rendering of rain clouds was implemented. 2. Integration of cloud shadows in the atmosphere has been implemented, among other things that will allow for light shafts from clouds. And 3. Because these shadows in the atmosphere, a prototype for improved rendering of multi-scattering in clouds and atmosphere was implemented. It acknowledges the presence of clouds in the atmosphere when it comes to indirect lighting and will help shading clouds, brighter, more natural white tones in the shadows, as well as the ambience of overcast skies on the ground, less hazy and bluish, in case of Earth-like planets. These research items are still work in progress and will hopefully mature enough to be shipped into the coming months with other improvements to rendering quality and performance. That's cool. That means we're getting at least, maybe not in 3.16, but maybe 3.17 or 3.18 we'll get weather systems on planets now, proper weather systems. So maybe not direct, but yeah, that's definitely weather systems, rain clouds and moving clouds, and casting shadows of clouds, casting shadows on the ground. Ghillie suit and camo ship blankets to hide better would be cool. That'd be kind of cool. Question: are you conditioning for your 24-hour stream right now? No, not really. I mean, I'm sleeping when I can, and like tomorrow. There is a Bar Citizen tomorrow, pre-CitizenCon Bar Citizen, that I may or may not attend because I want to do some other stuff on stream. So we'll see. I'm definitely going to be streaming on Saturday morning before CitizenCon goes live, but that is going to be a painting stream. We're going to be painting and talking Star Citizen, and I'll be painting some of the JRDF models that I have on stream to kind of, show you my terrible painting process, because I'm terrible at it. I'm not good. But all right. So that's good. This is all good. Still more. Okay. On core engine side, support for app data access was added to the P4K system. Aside from now storing the user shader cache folders there, the team planned to eventually move all temporary game clients to this new location. The P4K file system was also improved to properly deal with Unicode paths. Work on performance regression systems picked up again, with numerous supporting changes, as it's becoming important to daily progress and development stability. The team also supported server meshing by decoupling code so that it can run as a standalone service. They started focusing more on optimization too, with certain game scenarios frequently analyzed, reported, and updated. This brought various improvements that will be rolled out post-Alpha 3.15. For example, entity component wake-up was improved by keeping components active for some time. Server object container streaming code was heavily optimized, and memory allocation when using CIG function lambdas was improved. There were various other amends too, such as moving runtime GPU buffer updates to background threads. These are all things that will improve performance bases, will make the game run smoother, will help you update faster for certain aspects so you shouldn't have as much hitching. So those are all good things. This is all post 3.15. So it's important to remember that none of this is coming in 3.15. These are all happening after that. All right. So we still got a lot of left to go. We're almost there, but we still got a lot left to go. This is a huge amount. So features, characters, and weapons. The feature team continued focusing on bug fixing, quality of life improvements for the new player, inventory, and actor status features. In particular, the inventory was running slower than experienced on internal playtests, so significant effort was put into making it more responsive wherever possible. Item filtering is the top of the list of quality item improvements. The Grey Cat multi-tool is now the first weapon/gadget with 2 types of reloading actions. One for the healing attachment vial and one for its battery. This means that the user has to manage 2 different resources to get the best from it. The first iteration of the new underlying logic for the actor control state machine began testing this month. This logic is purpose-built based on the use of the old state machine and should scale significantly better with project size and complexity. It will also offer better debugging tools, reducing the time it takes to find and fix bugs. Features, gameplay. Gameplay features continue to support local inventories and getting the Knickknacks app ready for Alpha 3.15, with bug fixing and UI polishing taking the majority of the team's time. They also supported various mission teams in connecting content to the reputation system, set up shops and bartenders in Orison, and prepared for the IAE. Looking further ahead, work began on allowing team items to be sold at shops. The future cargo rework and Jumptown version 2. Good to know. Features, vehicles. September saw the vehicle feature team progress with jump points, significantly progressing with party jumping. In addition, the team further reviewed new animation techniques for the whole sea and supported VFX with improvements to ground effects. The remaining time was spent on ship data debug improvements to further support development processes. This means that they're working on jump points. This is what I mean by saying team progresses with jump points significantly progressing with party jumping. This means that they don't have jump points working properly yet, which tells me that there's no point in like theorizing if 4.0 is coming out. If Pyrus coming out this year, it's not coming out this year. It's coming out at the earliest next year. Probably not till the end of next year. Yeah, post 315 is in the future without specifying when the future is, but it's definitely not 315. It's after 315. It could be 315.1. It could be 316. It could be 320. We don't know. It just means that it's not coming out soon. That's CIG shorthand for it's not coming out next patch. Ground effects. Vehicle experience tested the bombing mechanics in QA after a successful review and polish period last month. They're now in the final bug fixing and optimization stage leading up to release and are awaiting feedback from Avocati and PTU phases. Improvements were also made to turrets for future release, and experiments were done on missile tuning and balance across the game. The team are also exploring how to further build upon operator modes. That's good. Vehicle features also prepared for Alpha 315's ship releases, supporting active features with the intoxication mode for piloting and driving, completed general bug fixing and improvements. Graphics and VFX programming. The graphics team made further performance improvements to the render profile, as well as optimizations for post effects, depth of field and motion blur, terrain rendering, and fog to maintain the same performance at higher resolutions. Interesting. Alongside this, they improved the water shader. These changes allow for shading to be based on available tiled lighting data rather than the nearest environment probe to create more consistent lighting in scenes involving water volumes. They also changed water volume lighting to take into account volume metrics, such as clouds and fog, avoiding previous issues where the water volumes would ignore local fog volumes when shading. They also progressed on the render to texture refactor by implementing region copy for static RTTOs to reuse the existing content instead of re-rendering it. This will ultimately increase the performance and save on scene pass usage. They also rewrote the RTT Atlas packing algorithm to support the new region copy feature, making it more robust and easier to maintain. Essentially, just all right, so render to texture is better than Flash streaming, but it's still a massive system hog. And CIG employees, I've heard CIG employees complain about it for years. Every time they bring up RTT, the teams dealing with it be like, oh, fuck, because they have to use it, and it's just a system hog, and they need to get out of it. So the graphics and VFX team are going through and retooling it to make it more efficient, try to pull things out where they can to make it less problematic. So hopefully they can use it more often. Finally, graphics looks into validation errors and captured Vulcan analytical information for future extensions. That was good. Lighting team polished and optimized Orison's new... who else would deadass buy an Argo complete pack? I would. That would be cool, actually, being able to fly through clouds above snowstorms and have usable skies rather than being ground to space. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Pink Floyd, how you doing? All right, lighting team polished and optimized Orison's new shops, Cousin Crow's, Providence Surplus, and Crusader showroom. A lot of effort went into ensuring these new locations thematically fit within the style of Orison, but that each has a unique style and flavor. To help support the addition of these locations, we made further lighting optimization work around their respective platforms. Lighting team. They also continue to finalize upcoming hospitals and clinics, implementing feedback from the art directors and fixing visual bugs. Support continued for colonialism outposts, with lighting passes almost complete on all current modules and components. Optimization and polish work is ongoing, and the new dynamic lighting was added to support airlock cycling. Good to hear. All right, narrative. Lore. I like me lore. As the release of 3.15 draws closer, narrative work to ensure all final elements and last details are in place before it goes live. This including a pass on hints added in support of the new gameplay feature, and journal entries to help explain some of the more complex systems. For knickknacks, the team adjusted item names and stats, specifically changing all armor capacity amounts from storage points, SP, to micro SCU. I'm not going to try SCU, okay. The Delphi Reputation app also received attention to ensure everything is as clear as possible, now that organizations can have multiple scopes for players to earn ranks in. The team also spent time playtesting to identify and resolve as many bugs as possible. Beyond Alpha 3.15, the time was spent in discussing details about the in-depth... They're using narrative as QA? Holy fuck. Beyond Alpha 3.15, time was spent discussing details about in-development hacking gameplay, pyro space stations, and non-water-based oceans. A recording session to capture mission and public address system dialogue was also completed, and work continued on AI design, audio, and new NPC behaviors. For lore lovers out there, yes, you're speaking my language, September brought a whole host of new narrative posts to the website. The quarter's lore makers community questions went out with some tasty tidbits regarding military ranks. A book excerpt from Always Forward, a UEE Marine history, originally featured in Jump Point magazine, was released to non-subscribers. For those who might not be aware, every month subscribers receive a new issue of Jump Point magazine that features new lore, in-depth interviews, dives into design, and delightful forward from our editor, Benjamin Lesnick. Definitely worth checking out. We also released a deep dive into new medical lore behind regeneration. Last but not least, the new batch of fascinating entries were added to the continually growing Galactipedia narrative team. QA's primary publishing focus was on preparation for Alpha 3.15 cycle, specifically ensuring that they have proper coverage for Eva Cati and Wave 1 PTU. For development, the team predominantly worked through QA test requests, QATR, as they arrived. Many needed significant testing as they included interconnected features that fundamentally change how the game is played. A new publishing checklist was created to manage inevitable requests for daily publishers, and the team's training path was reworked to better align with wider development. For embedded testing, the AI-based team focused on movements fixes for NPCs, which has far-reaching implications. They also tested turrets, targeting, and general functionality in response to player threats. For engine team, support continued with minimum spec PC stress testing, along with continued page heap testing to catch memory leaks. Furthermore, automation training continued with the aim to ultimately create an automated test cases for different departments. Okay. QA also continued to support the tools team with DataForge, Star Words, XL Core, Copy Build, and Sandbox Editor. All right, going through this stuff. I'm just glad no major landing zones are coming into Stanton. Hopefully over time we'll be able to play at a decent FPS instead of being required to buy a new computer this time. I'm saying that I'm looking forward to the performance improvements over time, hopefully. Yeah, we'll see it. It'll happen. Throughout September, Systematic Services and Tools continued to work on the economy tools and Quantum, the AI simulation. Edge cases were also wrapped up for easier use in recording. SST wrapped up some foundational adjustments to diffusion and how it communicates with DGS in the form of adjustments to Direct Connect DGS thread bridge. The service engineers are now working with their gameplay engineering counterparts on a new gameplay system for the mercantilely minded player. Trading is coming in soon. It sounds like we're going to have a lot of information about quantum and AI behavior, specifically around trading at CitizenCon. And it's going to be a major focus in 3.16, 3.17, 3.18, and beyond. Because that's what it fucking sounds like. Based off of everything we've seen here, the heavy emphasis on being able to, complete cargo refactor, which has been mentioned multiple times in this, and multiple times in the past. This mention of working with the economy tools and quantum. So I wouldn't be surprised if the hotfix they did this morning to fix quantity issues was more of they plugged in values into quantum, and quantum was like, why did you set this so fucking low? Jack these babies up. And it was more of a test to see if quantum could handle the new supply demand ratios based off the current tech, which is why suddenly everyone's like, oh, trading works now, because quantum is looking at CIG and going, what is this, an economy for ants? And just said, no, higher, much higher. Volume is much higher here, baby. So we can hope that. Can you say the whole speech again in Spanish? Hola, soy Paul Shelley. Estas un systematic services and tools por la economía y por los mercados. No. In mercados? I don't know. I used to be fluent and I can't speak at all anymore. AI traders are going to be a thing in the near future. They're already starting to work on it significantly and that kind of stuff. How can I say my Bennu is terrible? Just finished my college application essay. Saturday's going to be a good day. Congratulations, Pro. I'm all for performance, but honestly, you could run Star Citizen a potato as long as you could use a solid state drive and you're willing to turn down resolution a bit. I think it's going to happen. You did well. Thank you. My Spanish is very old. I need to practice it more. The thing that my wife, because my wife also speaks Spanish, is that we're going to do is we're trying to get more fluent again, but before we have kids, so that when we want to talk about things that the kids don't want to hear, we don't want the kids to hear about, we'll talk about it in Spanish. So they'll have to learn Spanish to be able to understand all the stuff we're saying behind their backs, in front of their faces. Comerciante? Is that Spanish? Is that Mexican Spanish? Is that Puerto Rican Spanish? Because that's I know specific words has different meanings depending on what they are, though. English is hard for everyone. I'll say with English. I can't speak English. No one speaks English. Spanish. Okay. Work continues in earnest for on intelligent NPC spawning. Good. We need intelligent NPCs. With an impressive internal milestone hit by the team. That's good. Finally, in preparation for Alpha 3.15, new educations and inventory system and backend services were addressed. All right, we're heading down to the end. We're almost there. Turbulent services. Last month, Turbulent's live tools team deployed a new launcher. This contains updated logic for verify feature, extending the time of warning message on game launch, and updating bindings with a new loading sequence. The game services team progressed with the discipline service, with the most critical calls being delivered. The launcher and in-game work for this is done too, with the QA phase beginning soon. The team continued to refactor the entity graph and worked on matchmaking services. That's the iCache stuff. And for someone asked earlier, it's like, wait, iCache is already sort of in. And the answer is yes and no. iCache as a whole is in, but all of the aspects that iCache tracks isn't. Which is why there's a bunch of as I've constantly said in these and in captain's tables, these elements are not Lego blocks. iCache was never going to be this be-all, end-all tool that'll fix everything. It was one part of a multi-layered system of which they may have not finished 10% of yet. They just got the AI system. They just got the iCache done in. iCache in. Oh, excuse me. And the matchmaking services, this is the big one that I'm constantly wondering, what the fuck is this matchmaking service? It's for the PU. It's not for Arena Command or anything else like that. So I'm just wondering what the fuck this is and what it means. The web team worked on pages for CitizenCon and IAE and created a new backend tool to improve the appearance and functionality of all website content. Don't. They need to overhaul this website massively. Last month, the UI team focused on performance improvements, optimizing some of the more costly areas of the user interface. We made some progress on underlying code work in the star map and started to get some placement holder UI for development build so we can easily start playing around with it, as you will see eventually. Can we get some just spamming hype in the chat? Nothing but hype. This is the one thing that the Star Citizen community has been screaming about, like a dying child for years. Hey, Flawbod. They're working on the new star map. Confirmed. Don't give me hope. They said they'll be playing around with it as you will eventually. So we're gonna see it in the next 6 months. UI also worked on screens for upcoming infiltrate and defend missions archetypes and finished the screens for hospitals and personal inventory. Oh, so there's going to be a screen we have to touch for infiltrate and defend. Interesting. Vehicle tech. Vehicle tech put the finishing touches on Squadron 42's specific vehicle mechanic with the aim of expanding it into the PU. Alongside this, bugs for Alpha 315 were fixed, and the groundwork for incorporating radar and scanning the FPS gameplay progressed. Some functional radar and scanning design changes are in the works too. Interesting. Maybe we get to see some more. Maybe they're fixing some of the wheel stuff. Who knows? Major improvements in how players control doors and other room-related interactions, such as lights, atmosphere, and communication systems, are in the prototype stages. The aim is to fully immerse players by allowing them to control their environment while exploring on foot. Expect more door control panel interactions to come soon. That's good. And lastly, VFX finish off their work with the new vehicle wakes, which was done alongside the vehicle feature team, and effects were completed for an unannounced ship. Finally, further development work was done for Theaters of War. There we go. New star map. So what I took away from that was Theaters of War is still a thing. New star map is in the works. They're working on new iCache stuff. Inventory or trading is becoming a major factor, that they're kind of pivoting towards that. They're using the narrative team as QA testers, doing some new styles. They're adding the finishing touches on Orison, new water shaders. New ships, lots of new ships. They're working on a lot of stuff for Orison and IAE and for CitizenCon. New stuff for attachments. They're doing a bunch of stuff on the engine side. Lots of new audio, cool things. Lots of new AI stuff. Including new bartenders, new patron idle animations, security, and navigation for ground-based actions. So, new ship straight to flyable. I would not doubt that we'd have a straight to flyable ship for 315. I can almost guarantee you we'll have a straight to flyable ship for 315, just because they've been talking about so many. There's like 3 unannounced ships that they have. And usually they have at least one straight to flyable ship and one concept ship at CitizenCon. And then IAE usually has one straight to flyable, if not 1 or 2 concept. So, using narrative as QA will help counter a plot hole in neckbeards, though. That's true. Addison Davis is es la melanquista viva la Amazonia de Sino. Wow. Okay. Vix. gotta support the space fascists, well, don't you? That's pretty much it. If I could possibly. When the SEO leaks give up on the 400i, I don't think the 400i is a myth, y'all. I think it's a thing. I just, so here's my belief. I believe the leaks came out about the 400i, and they were some progress was made on it, but they stopped working on it because maybe other things became priority. But I also think that a lot of people took a look at it and just started ripping on it, like massively ripping on it. Like if it came out the way it was, the leak concept came out was, then my response is it's the needle dick ship. It's just a tiny needle dick. And, you know, for Origin, which already kind of has a tiny bit of a bad rep amongst backers, having a needle dick ship isn't really something that people who are looking to show off their EP want to have, because people just laugh at your needle dick. And like, that's the problem is, so I have a feeling that something happened where it was chugging along nicely, and then the community just was dunking on that thing, and Chris saw that and was like, let's rethink this. And so it may have gotten through some repasses, which is why it hasn't been shown up yet. And it may have been finished earlier this year, but they wanted to wait until CitizenCon to release it, because any ship that releases at CitizenCon is going to make them a lot more money, because there's a lot more people paying attention. Medeemer. Or the Merlin. The Merlin at least has proportion properly. It's a very small penis, but at least it's the balls are about the same proportion as it. So probably 3 ships of 315 with some in X. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're getting Ares and the Ares and the Redeemer in 315X patches. They've been pushed to a 315X patch, so. This is very lewd ship review. I'm just being honest. All spaceships are penises. We know this. This is a fact. This is not a contestable fact. And so you have to judge them off of their shape to understand their purpose. A freelancer is short but girthy. So it has its job is for the long haul. An 890 is big and girthy. So it's designed to be, I have a tiny penis, but I look at my giant phantom penis here. And then you've got ships like the Aegis ships, which are all just spiky penises. I mean, like, I only sort of joke, like, there is legitimate criticism of rocket ships based off of the fact that they're all phallic shaped. If it ain't phallic, I ain't flying it. Yeah. Where does Crusader fit into this? They're along the same lines as Misk, big and bulky. The Argo disc? I don't remember that. They have multiple paint for the 400i, so maybe. Yeah, well, maybe. What is this jacked up pickup overcoming overcompensating mobile of ships? The jacked up pickup version? That's definitely the Freelancer Max. That or it's the Freelancer Max. it's the Freelancer Max. Though I would also argue it could be the Mercury. Just look at a disc. Oh, I don't know. Oh, you're talking about the leaked raft concept. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know if the raft is real or not. We'll see. No? When I said it's okay, I blew waffle. It's Alien. It's an alien penis. Obviously, it means that the Banu or the Xi'an's penises are all fan. They're not length. What about the Redeemer? That's disease. That's a disease. That's a please call your doctor. What does it say about the Vanduuls? Lots of spiky. You ever heard of a duck penis? So if Polaris is just bad dragon of the future, you got it. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, Bear Isle. I assume it's true. I don't know what it is, though. All right, that's one weird way of ending this, but we're going to end it on that. The Argo Mole, I may be small, but I'm bringing toys to help. Bingo. And yeah, the whole sea is a grower. The whole series is a grower, not a shower. It's how they all should end. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here at the Astropub. If you did enjoy this, please hit that follow button if you're on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like and then comment down below a little bit. If you're watching this on YouTube, we stream on Twitch every Thursdays, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Saturday and Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Join us then. We do Star Citizen. We do other content as well. But we'd just like to have you there. If you're watching this on Twitch, we have a YouTube. I do lore videos on the frequently. I'm trying to increase my frequency. I've just been slacking on them. That's where I put all my Captain's Table recordings. I do a lore podcast called Lore Citizen that's exclusively on there in our podcasts. You can find recorded versions of this. So if you missed this, you can go there and watch that. All sorts of things. So, swap over. Join us. And I will see you all tomorrow. Likely. I'll have to give some updates. The only reason why I might not be is because there's a digital Bar Citizen, but we'll see. Definitely see you on Saturday morning before CitizenCon. And when CitizenCon starts, I'm going to host somebody else so that I'll be kind of hanging out. But reminder, we have a 24-hour Captain's Table starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at on twitch.tv/theastropub. It'll also be on YouTube at the same time. 24 hours. I'll pull up the let me download the Oh, I didn't see you asking that to execute. My bad. Here's the cast list. Fair Assault, Nazarus, Trip Rodriguez, Massacast, Chegg, Diabolus, Space Tomato, Griffin Gaming RPG, Fastcart, Fist, Jawa, Captain Richard, Darge, HC Vertigo, Stim Citizen, Buster the Destroyer, Captain Burks, Execute, Dog Demon, Algorid, Cobra TV, Jail, and Croncy. I can't pronounce it. He's newer. So we've got a bunch of new faces, a bunch of old faces. We'll be raising money for Doctors Without Borders for that entire stream. It's post CitizenCon, so we're going to talk about all of the CitizenCon stuff we've learned, and I'm going to be abusing myself. So join us for that all Sunday. Hope to see you there. We have a fantastic group of cast members. And yeah, like I say every time, hope to see you all again soon. But if I don't, hope to see you someday in the black. And remember, Ex Historia ad Astra.